23 of my 28-day British accent challenge. We've worked quite a bit on consonants recently, so today we're going to do a review of some of the first vowel sounds we covered at the beginning of the challenge. We're going to look at E, as in sit and fit, E, as in see, me, E, as in set, met, A, as in sat, cat, A, as in say, way, and I, as in my, shy. So I'm just going to review the position for these sounds, and then we're going to work on some sentences, and we're also going to look at rhythm and flow. We're going to look at how the consonant sound T is often changed into a glottal stop, and how normal words become weakened in order to improve the flow and rhythm of the sentence. E. So we always compare E with E, because it actually makes it a bit easier to understand the mouth positioning. So if I start with E, E, you'll notice the corners of the lips come right back, and the tongue comes up to meet the mid to back top teeth. And I'm also lifting my soft palate, E, E. A really, really good exercise to help you with this is to do some work on your soft palate to make it more flexible. There are a couple of things that can go wrong here. One is that you don't lift the soft palate and the sound resonates in the mouth and becomes E, me, T, rather than me, T. So you obviously need to expand the cave area as well. That's a given. We always do this. But in addition, we're also lifting the soft palate here. So you can do a stretch to lift your soft palate. You can drink through a straw. That's really good. I'd recommend doing this as much as possible. And you can do some exaggerated yawning. Me, see. And then have another go. In terms of the difference between E and E, the main difference is that E is less exaggerated, so E, see, sit. So the corners don't go as far back. And also the tongue, it widens until it covers the underside of the top teeth for E. For E, it widens just enough to touch the inside edges of the teeth. Sit, sit. So it's exactly the same but less exaggerated. Again, we're lifting the soft palate. It's a high resonating sound. Sit, sit. But because of the nature of the position of the mouth, it will not resonate as high as E. E will resonate higher and more fully because we're really helping it to by obviously bringing the corners of the lips back, and also the fact that the tongue is so widened. E, E, E. Okay. Now we're going to do a couple of sentences using these sounds. I've been feeling a little unwell. Feeling, E, little, E. I've been feeling a little unwell. Also notice that I use the contraction I've. I don't say I have. We never speak in full. We always speak using contractions. I've been feeling a little unwell. And I'm really focusing as well on this sense of expansion. So I'm always focusing on the vowels, really important. If I allow my attention to flow with the movements of the mouth, then it would come forwards for sounds like L and T, little, and I get little rather than little. So I really have to focus on the positioning for the vowel. It's really important. And the consonant just needs to fit in. Otherwise, everything will resonate at the front. Let's move on. The next two sounds are E and A. Set, sat, met, mat. Again, these two sounds are often studied as a pair. They don't take the same mouth positioning, just as I and E don't, but the positioning is similar. So Ah, I open the mouth really wide, the jaw comes down, the corners of the lips come back, and I flatten the back of the tongue. Sat, mat, at. For it's similar but less exaggerated. So I open the mouth, I lower the jaw slightly, the corners come back, but I'm not flattening the back of the tongue. Set, met, fetch, any, said, end. Sometimes people confuse the with the or the with the a. So you just have to make sure that you experiment until you get the mouth positioning just right. So it's all about the positioning of the tongue. If the tongue is too high, you get sit. If it's too low, you get sat. So you've got sit, sat, sat. So I'm just exaggerating the movements really. So for sit, the corners come back a little bit more. And for set, the main thing that we're focusing on is lowering the bottom jaw and bringing the tongue down ever so slightly. It might be worthwhile for you to practice these 3 words together. Sit, set, sat. Especially sit and set, because you'll notice the positioning is quite similar. And it has a lot to do with the positioning of the tongue. Let's repeat the sentence, because obviously we've got the word unwell, and that's quite good for the air. Okay? I've been feeling a little unwell. Well, unwell, unwell. And I'm really focusing on the air. Obviously the tip of the tongue does have to come up towards the tooth ridge. I don't even touch the tooth ridge, to be honest. Unwell. But my focus is back here. Unwell. And obviously in the cave area. I have a good example for a. We sat at the back. So I've got sat, at, back. We sat at the back. And because I've got a T at the end of sat, and then I've got a vowel at the beginning of at, which becomes ut in order to improve the flow, I link the 2 words together. We sat at the back, sat at. We sat at the back, we sat at the back. And because the T at the end of at is followed by a TH in the back, I can just replace the T with a glottal stop. So I'm obviously tightening the glottis. You might want to refer back to yesterday's lesson to review that. And then I'm moving straight into the next word. At the back, at the back. And it should be quite easy to flow between these 2 words because a t is not dissimilar to a th. You're just moving your tongue forward slightly further. We sat at the back, at the back, at the. We would never say it so slowly, but it sometimes helps to slow down in order for you to really see what I'm doing here. We sat at the back, at the back. We sat at the back. I'm now going to have a look at A and I. So the similarity between A and I is that they finish with the same position. They're both diphthongs. A is moving between e and I. And I think it's quite good to do this in the same lesson because we've just covered e and I. A. So essentially, I'm moving my tongue up, I'm widening it slightly, and I'm lifting the soft palate. A. Way. Say. Day. A. And then I. It's a similar movement, only this time I'm moving between the position for a and the position for e. I. Y. So it's a bigger movement. Sigh. Again, I need to finish by lifting my soft palate. Y. It very much occurs at the back of the mouth, so you have to focus on expansion. Obviously, we have an a for the first position, so you also have to focus on relaxing your throat. So you might find it useful to lower your bottom jaw and hum at this point. I've, I'm. Okay. And a, say, way. So similar concept. Obviously the movement is much bigger for I than it is for a, purely because the starting position is lower. So we have to lower the bottom jaw more for I because we're starting in the position for a, which is a much more exaggerated position than e. Okay, time for a sentence. I couldn't stay up late last night. In addition to the a and the I here, I also added a few glottal stops. So when you have a T ending, which is followed by another consonant at the beginning of the next word, you're going to always use a glottal stop. So you just miss off the T, tighten the throat slightly, and then very, very quickly flow into the next word. Let me show you again. I couldn't stay up late last night. Couldn't stay. Late last night. I couldn't stay up late last night. It's much easier to do quickly. For me to do slowly is really unnatural because I wouldn't use a glottal stop when speaking slowly. For me, it doesn't sound very clear. It lacks clarity really. And one of the main principles in elocution is about having good diction, which means that we should be pronouncing T's and D's really clearly at the end of words. So it's only going to be when the T occurs in the middle of a sentence at the end of a word that I'm not going to pronounce it. Otherwise, if it occurred at the very end of the sentence, night, I'm going to pronounce my T. Otherwise, like I said, it lacks clarity. I hope this was really helpful. Flow is such a big part of the British accent. We're always looking to speed up the flow, have more fluid speech. So it's really important to perfect your vowels and also to work on rhythm and flow. Thanks so much for watching today. If you like this video, please do like it. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments box below. And if you're in a hurry to look ahead at all 45 sounds in the International Phonetic Index, then please do look in the box below and you'll find a link to a free 7-day trial of my membership site where you'll have access to the entire library of videos looking at all elements of how to develop a British accent, and you'll also be invited to one group coaching call, and there are 2 group coaching calls per month. Thanks so much for watching. See you tomorrow.